Just as this man was about to get engaged to his wealthy girlfriend, he was taken away by a group of fierce masked men. However, there was no fear on his face because those who took him were his own friends. He thought his happiness was about to be ruined by them, but he unintentionally discovered a winged girl floating in the pool. When he was terrified and at a loss, the girl's body emitted a faint light. Jim was stunned for a moment, a trace of astonishment flashing in his eyes. He plucked up the courage to try to approach slowly, and when he was sure that it really was a girl in the water, he subconsciously jumped into the pool to rescue her. Looking at the girl covered in feathers, Jim felt incredibly confused. He summoned the courage to slowly turn the girl over, and was instantly stunned by her stunning beauty. A feeling of love at first sight quietly emerged, and the fear in his heart could not help but slowly dissipate. Without thinking much, he immediately picked up the girl and left the pool, placing her gently on the sofa. But when he turned to get a towel, a surprising scene happened again. The clothes on her body dried up the moment he turned around. Until this moment, Jim was convinced that he had encountered an angel who had descended to the mortal world. Gazing at the girl's stunning, peerless face, Jim was at a loss for a moment. He patted the girl's cheek gently to try to wake her up, but found that she only had a weak breath, so he immediately performed artificial respiration on her. Fortunately, the girl soon showed a glimmer of life. When she slowly opened her eyes, that pure and peerless face made Jim fall for her again. The girl in front of him was like a fairy in a painting, making Jim mesmerized, and at the same time, he uncontrollably said hello to the other party. The girl's sweet smile indicated she didn't mind the kiss just now, but Jim still frantically explained to the girl that his earlier intimate contact was entirely to save her. However, the girl sat up and moved closer to him. Seeing the angel's wing was injured, Jim hurriedly stepped forward to comfort her. The girl felt Jim's kindness and kissed him without hesitation. The angel knew nothing about human affection. She only wanted to thank Jim in this way for saving her life. But Jim was charmed into a faint by this wonderful touch. It wasn't until the next day that he woke up from his slumber. Just when Jim thought that last night was just a hallucination after drinking, he was suddenly stunned by the scene before him. Although the angel didn't understand the language of the mortal world, she still tried hard to explain her purpose. Jim hurriedly brought bandages, carefully dressed the angel's wound, and warmly put warm clothes on her. Looking at the considerate man in front of her, the angel couldn't help but slowly approach him, as if to melt him completely in this moment of warmth. But Jim knew deeply the sacredness and innocence of the angel, so he suppressed the impulse in his heart and gave her gentlemanly respect. In order to let the angel's wound recover faster, Jim prepared to go out to buy some medicine. Before leaving, he repeatedly told the angel not to run around so as not to be discovered by malicious people. Unfortunately, as soon as he opened the door, he bumped into his wealthy girlfriend, Patty. Looking at the disheveled blonde beauty in the house, Patty flew into a rage instantly. Jim hurriedly stepped forward to explain while the angel added fuel to the fire from behind. Watching Patty leave in anger, the angel revealed a satisfied expression.
Get back inside.
Jim's scolding directly scared the angel to the ground. He hurried forward to check with a trace of apology, but the angel turned her head to reveal a cute and aggrieved expression, causing Jim's anger to dissipate like smoke. But how to settle the angel became his next problem. Just when he was at his wit's end, friends who heard the news knocked on the door. In order not to cause further misunderstanding, Jim immediately asked the angel to hide while he scrambled to the door. He wanted to make up a random reason to send his friends away, but his poor acting skills were soon exposed completely. The friends rushed into the house involuntarily. They searched every corner of the room carefully, but could never find a trace of the blonde beauty. Until they saw the toes wriggling quietly under the quilt, George couldn't wait to lift the quilt, and a dreamlike pure girl appeared before everyone. The friends were all upside down over her beauty. The girl slowly got up and subconsciously spread her wings, scaring them pale again. Immediately after, an evil idea was born quietly. They took Jim to the supermarket, bribed him with various snacks, and discussed with him how to use the angel to make a big profit. This absurd idea was flatly rejected by Jim because he was kind-hearted. He only wanted to help the angel recover her wings as soon as possible and return to her own world one day earlier. But George kept trying to persuade Jim with various reasons. Jim lost his temper with his friends for the first time.
I'll take care of it myself. See you later.
But these friends did not stop there. They drove a car and looked for traces of the angel everywhere on the street. Jim was completely unaware. His mind was full of how to help the angel tide over the difficulties. In order to replenish the angel's physical strength as soon as possible, he spent all his savings to buy hamburgers and French fries, and patiently taught her how to eat them. But when the angel saw the hamburger also open a big mouth, she screamed in fright. Jim hurriedly soothed her emotions, but when they looked at each other, an indescribable emotion quietly emerged. Jim dared not continue looking at the angel, so he immediately used the excuse of calling Patty to get out of the car and leave, leaving the angel alone in the car, slowly tasting the fries. The delicious taste made her gobble them up instantly, but she didn't know a danger was quietly approaching. Those friends took the opportunity when Jim left to drive the car over. They bought a large bag of fries, wanting to lure the angel off the car and then tie her up and take her away. Fortunately, Jim rushed back in time and didn't let their trick succeed. The successive troubles made Jim feel upset. Just as he was racking his brains to find a way to settle the angel, a severe pain came from the back of his head. The exhaustion all over his body made Jim feel nothing of the angel standing at the door observing him. He picked up the medicine bottle in front of the window and opened it subconsciously. Jim's predicament was seen through by the angel at a glance, and she was distressed extremely. Before Jim could speak, she slowly stretched out her arms, wanting to thank Jim for saving her life with a close hug. But Jim refused her kindness. He admitted frankly that he didn't want to hurt his girlfriend Patty, and promised to find a way to find out her origin as soon as possible. Jim's polite refusal made the angel feel incomparably lost. She realized that the man in front of her might really simply want to help her. So she silently closed the door, sneaked into the depths of the woods, and began to hum. The singing was beautiful and moving, but it was more like a distress signal transmitted to heaven through a beam of light. This scene was seen by Jim, who came after hearing the sound. He was briefly distracted at first, but the moment the singing stopped, an inexplicable feeling of loss welled up in his heart, because from some point unknown, he had begun to fear the angel leaving him. Seeing the angel slowly walking towards him, he hurriedly explained,
I got worried. I thought you were gone. You're... whatever. Phone home?
The angel gently stroked Jim's cheek, indicating that she would not leave just like this, and Jim's anxious emotions were then relieved. But a bigger trouble was coming. Jim's 3 money-hungry friends were secretly plotting a terrible scheme. They first called Jim and asked him and the angel to meet in the park under the pretext of apologizing. Later, one of the friends disguised himself as a love bug and delivered a forged love letter apology to Patty, falsely claiming that Jim would be waiting for her in the park. Patty believed that ridiculous beetle. She dressed up carefully and waited for her beloved at the agreed place. And when Jim appeared in the park with the angel,
What are you doing here?
I don't know. I am so stupid.
Patty left in anger, and Jim hurriedly chased after her to explain. George, Don, and Rex saw that the scheme had succeeded. They caught the angel with a fishing net and stuffed her into the car. When Jim returned, it was too late to stop them. He grabbed the car regardless of his safety, using all his strength to try to stop the car, but was thrown ruthlessly to the ground at a turn. But Jim dared not stay for a moment. He drove the car anxiously looking for traces of the angel. But until the next day, he still had no clues, because they had already taken the angel to a press conference, wanting to use the media to announce the angel to the public, and then use her as a cash cow to make a big profit. Jim drove into a gas station, and after a burst of inquiries, the staff told him the specific location of the press conference. When Jim rushed there, he indeed found them.
She's a fake! These guys are trying to con you. She's no angel. Oh, you come! You wasted your time.
George was just about to reveal the angel's true identity when he was knocked to the ground by a right hook from Jim. Jim distressedly comforted the frightened angel, but was hugged viciously from behind by George.
I don't work here. It's me, damn. I'm trying to make a buck. Come on.
Subsequently, Jim left holding the angel, but the reporters still chased relentlessly.
Hold on. Could we talk to her then?
No.
Why not?
Because she's mine.
And this scene happened to be seen by Patty in front of the TV. At this moment, she hated the angel to the bone, and the raging fire in her heart made her lose her reason. She found a rifle at home, and a thought of eliminating the angel sprouted quietly in her heart. In order to avoid the pursuit of bad guys, Jim took the angel to his childhood secret cabin. He not only bought nutritious food, but also meticulously helped the angel check the recovery of the wound every day. He even tirelessly searched for ways to help the angel in books every moment. He often used medicine to suppress the inexplicable pain coming from the back of his head. But whenever he saw the angel getting better, a thick sense of happiness and satisfaction welled up in his heart. However, the time with the loved one is always beautiful and short. This day, Jim accidentally saw the angel bathing. Her wings had recovered as before. Jim showed a face full of joy, but his heart was filled with endless loss. He knew deeply that the angel would leave soon, and sadness followed like a shadow-like air. So, he tried to use sleep to relieve this panic and uneasiness. But in that illusory world, he saw the angel untie the bandage, take light steps, gently flap her wings, and fly slowly. She flew over the dense jungle, crossed the wide river, and flew straight toward the sky, until her figure disappeared into a beam of white light. Jim suddenly woke up from the dream. He turned his head to look, and saw the angel was still by his side, realizing that it was just a nightmare just now. He subconsciously looked at the angel's wings, then immediately turned his head away. The angel saw through Jim's mind, and hurriedly tied the bandage back on. This warm and sweet move warmed Jim's heart. He opened his heart and poured out his past and current terrible life to the angel. He enjoyed this wonderful time spent with her, but this also brought him indescribable confusion, because he fell in love with a girl who didn't belong to this world. And this love was also a gap he could not cross. When the affection was deep, he vented his long-buried emotions angrily.
You know, I really care about Patty.
Looking at the angel lowering her head in grievance, Jim instantly felt distressed again.
I'm sorry. Don't you see? I mean, we could never have a real life together because you don't belong here.
Jim waved his hand helplessly to signal the angel to leave quickly. But at this moment, a noise came from behind. It was Patty, who came with a long gun. The angel immediately cast a spell to become invisible, but Jim was quickly discovered by Patty. Patty arrogantly asked Jim about the angel's whereabouts, but Jim told her, "Unless you step over my dead body, you shouldn't think about finding the angel." Patty gave Jim a slap viciously, but Jim still didn't tell her the truth. When Patty raised her hand again, an invisible force kicked her to the ground. Anger had made her lose her reason, and just as she was about to stand up, she was kicked to the ground again. Just then, Patty's parents also rushed over after hearing the news. Seeing their daughter being bullied, Patty's father grabbed Jim's collar, wanting to teach him a lesson. Just as he was about to strike, he was interrupted by Jim's friends. The two groups instantly wrestled together, and at this time, Jim fainted on the ground. The sky suddenly flashed with lightning and thunder, and the angel appeared again. She pointed angrily at Patty's family, and rainstorms and lightning instantly descended from above their heads, scaring them into fleeing in all directions. Looking at the unconscious Jim, the angel had tears in her eyes, then slowly disappeared into the sky. Friends quickly sent Jim to the hospital, but what awaited them was a hard-to-accept fact, because Jim had a late-stage brain tumor and there was no possibility of treatment. The unconscious Jim lay on the hospital bed, his life at stake. The door slowly opened. A beam of light streaked across the sky and slowly approached. The angel appeared again. Her palm gently brushed over Jim's face, and a mysterious force woke him from his coma.
Listen, I'm sorry that I yelled at you. I didn't really want you to go. I'm going to die, huh?
The angel lovingly kissed him, and Jim also stopped breathing. The sadness of losing the loved one turned into silent tears, sliding down from the corners of her eyes constantly. The angel slowly held Jim in her arms, hugged him tightly with her wings, and softly sang that beautiful song of redemption. She gave up her immortality and chose to spend a mortal life with her lover. Love is a bond that travels through time and space. When two people in love look at each other deeply, their love will settle like stars, embellishing each other's starry sky and becoming an eternal existence. No matter how time flows, this love will not fade, but become more dazzling. Perhaps this is the most precious emotion that transcends time and space. It is like the first ray of sunshine before dawn, crossing the night, bringing warmth and hope. It is also like the brightest star in the night sky, illuminating each other's world even in the darkest moments. This love is the most beautiful scenery in life. It makes people mesmerized and intoxicated. This love is the most moving movement in life. It makes people's hearts beat and infatuated. This love is the most dazzling pearl in life. It makes people radiant and shining.